This is Waldo's Weather, and I'm Chief Meteorologist Waldo. Today's forecast is mostly sunny skies with a 20% chance of rain. Mike, back to you. Okay, let's go. Woo! We're going on a great American road trip to see mountains and lakes, desert and plains. We'll see farmland and we'll see badlands. Aspen will even manage to get some hunting in. So, what vehicle should we take on such an epic trip? How about a 17-year-old unreliable Land Rover? This is it, a 2005 Discovery 3 that I purchased sight unseen at an auction for only $1,700. It's complete with air suspension and a 4.4-liter V8 that makes around 300 horsepower. Well, we are all packed up and ready to go. One of the really nice things about these Land Rovers is the copious amount of space in the boot. Aspen, do you want to go for a road trip? She is ready to go. Aspen, up. Good girl. We start our journey in southern New Hampshire, first making our way to Albuquerque in the southwest, then slowly ambling north through the beautiful mountains, and then east before we head back home. Now, some of you are gonna ask, and of course, rightly so, Waldo, are you insane? Why would you take a 17-year-old Land Rover on a cross-country road trip when you're probably going to break down and have to complete part of your journey on the back of a tow truck? And you have a really good point. Of course, I could get a Toyota to complete the journey and I'd be a lot more likely to be successful and reach my destination. As we enter Vermont, I can't think of a better vehicle for the trip. The combination of comfort and off-road capability in a Land Rover is unmatched, largely thanks to the air suspension. The air suspension gives this thing such a smooth, soft, compliant ride, and then with the flick of a switch, you get 2 extra inches of ground clearance, so you can do some serious off-roading. I intend to do some backcountry exploring, but first, we need to get to our overnight stop in Columbus, Ohio, approximately a 12-hour drive. In New York, we hit our first bit of traffic. 0 out of 10, do not recommend. Never been smoked in. All right, sit rep. We are in traffic in New York, and as for the Land Rover, the power steering pump is whining a fair amount, so I hope it makes it the whole trip. If we make it home, I promise I'll give you a new power steering pump. Please just make it 6,000 miles. All right, it's our first pit stop here. Let's see what we have for snacks. Beef jerky, trail mix, more trail mix. Really just a lot of junk food mostly. All right, just got to the hotel. We're staying at the La Quinta. Yeah, nothing too special. We're doing like 2-star hotels all the way. Breakfast is about what you'd expect for this type of hotel. A free buffet. Can't really complain about that. All right, we're all packed up and ready to hit the road. Today's leg of the journey is kind of a long one, a bit over 900 miles, 13 hours of driving from Ohio to Oklahoma City. The vehicle itself has been pretty good. So far, the power steering pump is still in one piece and the air conditioning works, which is really, really nice. It stalled. All right, just try to, I'll get out and push. Not only is this the biggest gas station I've ever seen, but we just stalled and ran out of fuel right here. I hopped out and pushed us to this bay right over here to this pump. Well, it says 0 miles of range now, but when we pulled in, it said 3 miles, and I figured it had some in the reserve, but apparently not. What an adventure. I mean, admittedly, we were pushing the limits of range a little bit, but I've never had that problem before. We didn't want to stop for fuel in St. Louis, so we figured we'd drive a little bit further to the next gas station outside of the city. Yeah, I've had vehicles reach 0 miles of range before, and then they still have like another gallon of gas in reserve, and apparently this does not have that, so we're not going to be playing with fire like that again. 22.34 gallons, $100 of gas. That's pretty much a full tank right there. Well, problem number 2, this piece of trim started to come loose on the highway and it was about to fall off, so we're just gonna have to remove this. All these clips are broken. You know, I actually just got a brand new windshield and they removed this, and I guess when they reinstalled it, they did a pretty good job, and I think they broke the clips on me. They put some adhesive on it to try to help seal it down, but it did not adhere to the piece of trim. So, oh well, I'm gonna have to plug these holes up so that I don't get water coming in on this trip though. That is kind of important. All right, we made it to Oklahoma City and we are staying at the Comfort Inn and Suites tonight, another 2-star hotel. Good morning. This is what I like, a nice empty breakfast room, and they have oatmeal and tea, so I'm happy. We picked up some duct tape here to cover up these holes to keep water out of the vehicle. Add duct tape to the list of things to always carry with you in your Land Rover. It rained quite a bit last night, but the carpet in here is dry, so that's good news. I'll be looking for all right, day 3, and we are back on the road, headed to Albuquerque for our first major stop. We're going through Amarillo, and hopefully we'll be there before noon so we can say we're in Amarillo by morning. We have reached our destination of Albuquerque, and I just noticed the check engine light turned on, so we're gonna have to take a look and scan the codes and see what the problem is. We'll be spending a few days in Albuquerque for a wedding and also to visit family. This is the hotel we'll be staying at. We have a wedding to go to. Make sure you never wear a clip-on bow tie. Tie it yourself. They come out imperfect, which is charming. It's exactly what you want. The ladies love it when you tie your own bow tie. No. Yeah, if you're gonna have an outdoor wedding in Albuquerque in the middle of summer, I am wearing shorts.
You may kiss your bride. Yeah. The next day.
All right, we're hiking up there somewhere. We're still in Albuquerque, so this should have a good view of the city. Oh, sorry, Aspen. Looks like you need to be on a leash. Unfortunately, we got a little bit of a late start today because the wedding after party was a little crazy, but we're out here. It's a little bit warm, but it should be a good hike. We decided to just make it a short hike. That's downtown Albuquerque over there. And then behind us, we have the Sandia mountain range. Aspen is absolutely loving it out here. There's some lovely New Mexico wildflowers up here. There's also some really cool cacti out here too. This one's flowering. That's pretty. She sees something. That's where we just were. All right, we are back on the road today and we're headed up to Colorado, and on the way we're going to stop at the Great Sand Dunes National Park. Now, we've driven much of this route before and it's really, really pretty, so I hope that you guys enjoy the time lapse. Oh, and the check engine light turned off all on its own. I did scan the codes off camera and it was a code for both banks, 1 and 2, running rich. There weren't any drivability issues, and that's honestly something that we could kind of ignore for the rest of the trip. I mean, as long as it's not causing misfires or something like that, which it wasn't. So, yeah, the Land Rover is healing itself. Ooh, the Durango. That's made out of the finest fiberglass and plywood that money can buy. Alright, the check engine light came back on, and the System 2 rich codes are back, along with a mass airflow sensor or circuit range performance code. So I'm thinking there's either a vacuum leak or it could be a dirty MAF sensor. The engine did actually stall while we were sitting in traffic. We were stopped in traffic on the highway, so that was kind of not fun. And then traffic started moving in front of us and it's like, oh shoot. So, you know, put it in park, restart it, started back up fine, and we were able to go, and it hasn't stalled again since. But I don't know, we're having some issues. We have sand dunes, and we have a really happy puppy. This is a national park that actually allows dogs on the sand dunes. That's very uncommon for national parks. Yep, it's pretty sandy. That is my insightful comment of the day. Alright, we're getting pretty close to the top, but we have some really major storms rolling in. There's some thunder and lightning over there, so we gotta hurry up so we don't get struck by lightning.
By the time we made it to the top, everyone else had left due to the storm rolling in. The views up here were absolutely stunning. It was definitely worth the hike.
So there's a 4x4 road here, and you know, one of the reasons why we bring a Land Rover on a trip like this is so that we can take these cool roads and see some cool stuff. However, it looks like it's raining over there, and they are predicting flash floods, so we have to be careful, and we're probably not going to go too far, but let's go check it out. I know that's just an easy gravel road for now, but just to be ready, we're going to stick it in grass, gravel, snow, and we'll also put the air suspension in the high mode. Oh yeah, look at this. We got some rocks. Oh yeah. High clearance, 4-wheel drive only, strictly enforced. No 2-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, or low clearance beyond this point. Soft sand ahead, lower tire pressure, or you will get stuck. 20 PSI recommended. Let's go and we'll see what happens. You see, it's places like this that you really miss out on if you go to a national park without a 4x4. Oh, it is soft here. That is soft. I stopped to go check out the creek down here, and there's some people hiking up there. See them way up there? That's pretty adventurous. Well, it looks like it's going to start to rain pretty soon, and I'm dying to know how this thing is going to do in the soft sand going uphill. So we're going to give it a try. I'm going to try to do it without airing down the tires because I don't want to have to pump them back up. All right, let's put this thing in sand mode. It is starting to rain, so let's get out of here. And here's my first little hill. You can see the ruts here in the sand. We're going to carry some speed through here, and I mean, that was easy. Right around this bend is another uphill bit with a hill, so let's see how it does. Easy peasy. All right, we have nothing to worry about. This thing handles it like a champ. We did get a little bit muddy, so that's cool. Yeah, so that was pretty easy. There really wasn't any point that was a challenge there. So if the conditions were better and we weren't facing rain, you know, next time we're here, I definitely want to go farther and check the place out more. Anyway, we are going to continue on to our overnight stop, which is further up in Colorado, and hopefully we'll get there before dark. Well, it got dark, but look at the view from the hotel this morning. All right, this is definitely the best breakfast we've had so far on our trip. Oh, look, a honey bucket. I always wondered where honey comes from. All right, I'm gonna try to clean this MAF sensor. Luckily, I brought a tool bag with me. That is like the easiest MAF sensor to remove. It does actually look dirty in there too, so this might be my problem. I just found that there's some cracks in the housing for this resonance chamber thing here, and that's definitely, in theory, letting in some unmetered air. I don't know if that's causing my problem, but it's definitely not helping. I sealed that up with a little bit of duct tape. That should get the job done. This is Frisco, Colorado. Little known fact, Aspen here was named after aspen trees because they are beautiful, just like she is. Look at that, a crew cab long bed. That thing is sweet. All right, see ya, Dillon Reservoir. Maybe we'll come back someday. Today we're headed up to our overnight stop in Laramie, Wyoming, which is only about a 3-hour drive. That's really nice because we have plenty of time to do some sightseeing, and we're also gonna stop in the Medicine Bow National Forest, which is something I've always wanted to visit. This is the Silver Lake Scenic Area. So the car said it's 53 degrees up here. It was 80 degrees down at the base before we entered the National Forest, so it's a pretty big difference. This is a beautiful alpine lake. We got caught in the rain. It's raining like crazy out there. And yeah, we're sheltering under some of these conifer trees. They're doing a pretty good job of keeping us dry, and she's going crazy. It is a lovely day for fishing. This is Waldo's Weather, and I'm Chief Meteorologist Waldo. Today's forecast is mostly sunny skies with a 20% chance of rain. Mike, back to you. Okay, let's go. Woo!
Yeah, 20% chance of rain, my ass.
All right, I saw this store, and I don't need to buy anything, but I figure this is my kind of store, so let's check it out. They have a ton of yellow tools here. Look at this. And more yellow tools. Yep, we are in the dog treat aisle, and she wants some treats. That's the best selection of horseshoes I've ever seen. Yeah, so that was cool. That was basically like a Tractor Supply on steroids. All right, we are all packed up and ready to go. Today we are heading to Sheridan, Wyoming. It's only about a 4.5-hour drive, so it's another easy day. We don't actually have anything planned, so we're just gonna do whatever we do, see whatever we see, and it should be a good time. That must be Liz Cheney's house. I can't imagine anyone else wanting to put up a sign for her. Well, we arrived at the Best Western Sheridan Center. According to Google, this is actually a 3-star hotel, so I guess I'm breaking my 2-star rule. Oh well. Downtown Sheridan, pretty cool place. We got Thai food for dinner, yum.
One of the things that I love about being out west is all of the flatbeds that you see. It really does warm the heart seeing trucks being used to get work done. Back on the road, headed to Bozeman, Montana today, and we're going to drive through the Bighorn National Forest to see what it has to offer. This is Sibley Lake. Pretty cool fishing area here. Alright, so it's the next morning. We walked around downtown Bozeman last night and I totally forgot to record it. It was nice, it's clean, but it's really not my cup of tea. I mean, it's too big, it's too crowded, too expensive, and too many Californians. Some of you guys will know what I'm talking about. So the plan for today is to hike up to that M over there. Yeah, it's just like California, absolutely packed. This is the trailhead. Well, there it is.
Oh, God. It's a good idea. I heard you were coming to Montana and build up.
That's where we parked, down there.
Yeah, so that was a fun little hike. Today is the day that we start heading back east. We're kind of avoiding the interstates and taking the more scenic back roads, and we're staying overnight in Miles City, Montana. Tomorrow should also be pretty good because we're going to stop at Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota, so looking forward to that. So I have received some bad news, and that is the Choco Taco is being discontinued by Klondike. Now, if you've never heard of a Choco Taco before, it is this delicious ice cream treat it's a taco and it has chocolate in it, and it's magnificent. And so this trip has turned into a quest to find one of the last few Choco Tacos remaining before they are no longer, and I will not rest until I find one so that I can have one more of these delicious treats.
Alright, the hunt for Choco Tacos begins. Nothing. Attempt number 2.
Choco Taco, they're all gone. Does Walmart have any? Nope. All right, how about this one?
Then I hit the jackpot.
At long last, the Choco Taco. This might be the last one I ever eat. Vanilla ice cream with a chocolate flavored swirl in a sugar taco with milk chocolatey coating and peanuts. Definitely worth the $1.99. It's got vanilla ice cream inside, plenty of chocolate, a crunchy taco shell. I mean, what more could you want?
We decided to follow the theme with Mexican food for dinner.
Looks pretty good and authentic to me, and Aspen's hoping that we drop some. All right, it is the next morning, and today we are headed to Fargo, North Dakota. It's about a 6.5-hour drive, and of course, we're stopping at Teddy Roosevelt National Park. The weather today is pretty cool and rainy, so hopefully the park won't be too busy. I've never been to North Dakota before, but I have been to South Dakota, and I expect it to be pretty similar, kind of flat and not too interesting, but we'll see. Well, look at that. There's plenty of parking, so this place is not crowded. That's great news. There's a bison out there doing bison stuff. This is also a prairie dog town. I think that's the one over there doing prairie dog stuff. There's a pronghorn up there, sometimes called a pronghorn antelope, but it's not actually an antelope. This is the Wind Canyon Trail.
Yeah, we'll just use a river. That'll be easier to see.
Yeah, so this park has a lot of short hikes that you can do, which is really nice. Unfortunately, like many national parks, this one is not very dog friendly, so I can't bring my dog on any of these hikes. This is the Bois Court Overlook and the Bois Court Trail. That's probably French and I'm probably butchering it, but why don't you either spell it the way it's pronounced or don't pronounce things so silly. America. Definitely a Camp Cupcake Trail, but the views are okay. I guess that would be a bison pie, wouldn't it? All right, so here's my hot take on this place. It's nice and all, but it's a lot like Badlands National Park in South Dakota, except less spectacular. It's kind of like they had a quota of national parks to fill and they just chose this place to do it.
North Dakota ended up being predictably flat, but it had some beautiful farmland. Wheat, corn, hay, cattle, and even sunflowers.
Man, this is definitely the nicest place we're staying at so far. Aspen is already comfortable in her place on the bed, and this is like not even that expensive either. Well, there's a Fargo, North Dakota sunrise. As you can see, I am back in the driver's seat. I was lucky enough to be largely chauffeured around the west, which was great because I was able to do a lot of filming from the vehicle while we were driving. I mean, really only one driver was needed because our drives were so short every day, but as we start to go back east, we're gonna have longer driving days, and it's definitely nice to have multiple drivers. In any case, today we're driving about 8 hours from Fargo, North Dakota to Marinette, Wisconsin, and we are also going to stop at the Mall of America on the way, which is something I've never been to. Now, according to Wikipedia, and take this with a grain of salt because they're not the most reliable source, this is the largest mall in the Western Hemisphere. We're on level 4 of this enormous parking garage going directly into Macy's. I was curious about how many sunglass huts they have. They have 4. We're doing a mirror maze. Oh, that's a mirror right there. All right, here we go. Found the exit. Oh, no, I didn't. That's a mirror. There's the exit. All right, well, that was fun. Today we wake up in Marinette, Wisconsin, right on the border of Michigan, and we're driving about 8 hours to Toledo, Ohio, which is also right on the border of Michigan. And so we're basically spending the whole day driving through Michigan. We're starting on the Upper Peninsula, driving along, and then we're crossing the Great Lakes at the Mackinac Strait, which separates Lake Michigan and Lake Huron. And, you know, this is definitely the long way around. However, I had never previously been to Michigan before, and for me, that's enough reason to try it out. We're in Manistee, Michigan. Behind me there is a boardwalk and a bit of a path that goes along the shore, and we're going to use this opportunity to stretch our legs. All right, so it is our last day. We have a 12-hour drive to get back home to New Hampshire, and I'm gonna be stopping at my mom's house to pick up my other dog. Now, obviously we brought Aspen here with us because she is a really good travel companion, but my other dog doesn't like long car rides. So I'm pretty excited to see him and see how he's gonna react, because I don't think I've ever been away from him for this long, almost 2 weeks. Oh, Rhino! Hi, Rhino. Well, we made it back safely, and the vehicle only had minor issues in that typical Land Rover fashion, and so the trip was a spectacular success, I would say. Now, I tracked the fuel usage on this trip, and we traveled 6,473 miles. We used a total of 351 gallons of fuel, and that brings us to 18.4 miles per gallon, which is really not too bad for such a big, heavy vehicle with a V8 that is not aerodynamic. If you compare this to my 2004 GMC Sierra 1500, it's a year older than this. It actually weighs a little bit less than this. That thing gets like 14 or 15 miles per gallon with its 5.3 liter V8, making about the same amount of power. And so this is substantially better than that, and it's pretty impressive. So what do we have coming up next? I have an excavator video planned. I'm going to be building a custom front bumper for Brandon, and then the Range Rover that I was going to bring on this trip, I think that needs a new oil pump. I just ordered a new one yesterday, and unfortunately that is a job that I need to pull the engine for, but it needs to be done, so we're going to get it done. As for this video, this is a new type of video for me. I've never done this before, so do let me know what you think. If you guys like the video and if it does well, I would be happy to do more of these types of videos because I love doing road trips. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.